the 17th of May 2026, Sunday morning. A reading in a common Buddhist text, guidance and insight from the Buddha. Chief editor of this compilation is Dr. Mahapradama Kosachan. We left off in chapter 7 on ethics from the perspective of the Mahayana tradition. Previously, we covered the Theravada tradition, and moving forward, also going to cover the Vajrayana tradition. We left off on a great being's precept on caring for the sick. This is one of the 48 secondary precepts of the East Asian Brahmanet Sutra Code. If a son of the Buddha sees anyone who is sick, he should attend to them in the same way as if it were the Buddha. On the eight fields of beneficial karma, attending to the sick is the most important. If his parents, his teacher, or the member of the Sangha becomes sick, their faculties impaired and suffering in 100 different ways, he should attend to them until they recover. If instead, out of ill will and resentment, he does not go to help the sick, whether they are in the monasteries of the Sangha, in cities, in the wilderness, in forests, or on the road, but leaves them helpless, he disgraces himself by committing a secondary offense. This is the Brahmanet Sutra, Taso, Volume 24, Text 1484. Helping others to help themselves. This passage says that the great being choosing to stay in the rounds of samsara, rebirth, to compassionately help others, should not bind himself by believing that he can ultimately help living beings directly. Instead, he should focus on enabling them to rid themselves from their defilements. A person should cultivate the kind of great compassion which does not fall into the view that it is possible to benefit living beings, but which is focused on ridding living beings on their non-intrinsic defilements. Why should he do this? The kind of compassion which falls into the view that it is possible to benefit living beings will exhaust the person in his rebirth. The kind of compassion which avoids the originating of views that it's possible to benefit living beings will not exhaust the person in his rebirth. He is reborn in this way, and not with such views have risen. Being reborn with the mind free of arising of such views is like liberation. His birth is like liberation. When he is reborn in this way, which is like liberation, born in this way, which is like liberation, has the strength and the power to teach living beings who are born into bondage the Dharma which will liberate them from their bondage. As the Blessed One has said, one who is in bondage himself cannot liberate others from their bonds. This is not possible. One who is liberated from bondage, however, can liberate others from their bonds. This is possible. A great being, therefore, should be liberated, not in bondage. This is cited in the Vimala Kriti Nidesa Sutra, Chapter 4, Section 15, translated from Sanskrit. Teaching others. A great being as inexhaustible in giving the Dhamma teachings. This passage shows the ever-giving nature of a great being. Vimala Kritri says, sisters, there is an entrance into the Dhamma which is called the inexhaustible lamp. And this is where you should enter. What is the entrance into the Dhamma? It is like this, sister. From a single oil lamp, 100,000 others can be lit without diminishing the original lamp. In the same way, a single great being can establish many hundreds of thousands of others in awakening without the mindfulness of that original person a weakening or decreasing. In fact, it will grow stronger. Indeed, any wholesome practice grows stronger in oneself when one explains it and teaches it to others. This is the entrance into the Dharma, which we call the inexhaustible lamp. When you are living in the realm of Mara or illusion, you should illuminate the awakening mind for innumerable nymphs and sons of the gods. In this way, you will demonstrate your gratitude to the Tathagata, and all living beings will be able to depend on you. This is cited in the Vimalakriti Nidesa Sutra, Chapter 3, Section 66, translated from Sanskrit. Care for animals and the environment. Care for all sentient beings. Sons of the Buddha. When a person was born as a king and could dictate the laws as he wished, he issued a decree to prohibit the taking of life. Killing was prohibited in every town and village in all realms. All species of living beings, those with no legs, those with 2 legs, those with 4 legs, and those with many legs, were all free from fear, and no thought of harming them. He cultivated all many forms of conduct and treated animals with kindness, not harming them in any way. He cultivated the wondrous awakening mind in order to bring comfort to living beings. This is cited in the Avatamsaka Sutra, Daso, Volume 10, Text 279. These are some of the 48 secondary precepts of the East Asian Brahmanet Sutra. If a son of the Buddha with an unwholesome mind intentionally sets fire to the forest or wilderness between the 4th and the 9th month of the lunar year, or if he intentionally sets fire to other houses, building towns, city, monasteries of the Sangha, trees in the fields inhabited by yakshashas, or the property of other which he does not have permission to set fire to, he disgraces himself by committing a secondary offense. If a son of the Buddha with a mind filled with compassion releases animals from captivity, he should reflect, all men are my fathers, all women are my mothers. From one life to the next, I have never been born without a parent. All living beings in the 6 realms have been my parents at one time. If I kill and eat a living being, I will be killing one of my parents, who are the reason I have a body. Earth and water are my primordial body. Fire and wind are my original form. This is why in every existence, releasing animals from captivity in his unchanging spiritual practice. He also teaches others to release animals from captivity. When he sees someone killing an animal, he will try to find a way to rescue them, to save them from suffering. He will instruct the killer, explain to him the precepts, and to cultivate and rescue the living beings. This is from the Brahmanet Sutra, Daso, Volume 24, Text 1484. Loving kindness and compassion. Loving kindness is the enemy of hatred and of not showing kindness to living beings. Loving kindness is to cultivate joy when one has a common purpose with others, such as eating together. It is the desire, the wish, the craving, and the longing for others' happiness. It is an affection unsullied by the desire of sensual pleasures or for the expectation of receiving something in return. This is what loving kindness means. This is cited in the Sikha Samuchaya of Santideva, chapter 12, translated from Sanskrit. The power of compassion. A householder should first cultivate compassion. If he does not, he will not be able to practice the precepts of the householder. If he cultivates compassion first, then he will be able to practice them. A renunciant can only fully practice 5 of the perfection. He cannot fully practice the perfection of generosity. Only a householder can fully practice the perfection of generosity. Why is this? It is because he can give anything at any time. A householder, therefore, should first cultivate compassion. Once he has cultivated compassion, he can perfect his ethical discipline, patient acceptance, vigor, concentration, and wisdom. If he cultivates compassion or a compassionate mind, he will be able to give what is difficult to give, patiently accept what is difficult to patiently accept, and do what is difficult to do. This is why compassion is the root of all wholesome qualities. Son of a good family, if someone were able to cultivate a compassionate mind in this way, he will be able to remove the effects of previous evil actions, which were of great as Mount Sumeru. He will soon attain unsurpassed perfect awakening. Even the smallest wholesome actions which he performs would yield karmic fruits as great as Mount Sumeru. This is cited in the Upasaka Sila Sutra, Tasso, Volume 24, Text 1488, Chapter 3, page 1036. The selfless, compassionate movement through the world. This passage describes how the great being moves through the world, unattached to it, compassionately helping others. It is wonderful how the Son of the Virtuous One, who has discerned the unchanging nature of a risen phenomenon, manifests himself as an ignorant, blind being, subject to birth and so forth. In his skills and means and his compassion for others, he is bound to the world. Although he has attained the sphere of the noble ones, he manifests in the fears of immature beings. He has gone beyond the whole world, and yet he does not abandon the world. He acts in the world for the benefit of the world. Worldly affairs do not stick to him, just as water do not stick to the lotus, even though it grows in the water. Worldly things do not stick to him, even though he is born in the world. His mind is constantly blazing into action like a fire, yet he never abandons the practice of calm and meditative concentration. Because of the power of his previous practice, and because he has abandoned the conceptualization, he no longer has to exercise effort in order to bring living beings to maturity. He knows who is to be trained, how they are to be trained, and with what means, whether by his teaching, his physical appearance, his conduct, or his practice. Always effortlessly unobstructed in his wisdom, he acts in the world for the benefit of living beings, limitless as space. When he has reached this state, just like the Tathagata, in that he rescued living beings in the world. Yet the difference between him and the Buddha is like the difference between an atom and the earth, or between a cow's hooves and the print of the ocean. This is cited in the Ratnagotra Vibhaga of Saramati or Maitreya, chapter 1, verse 69 to 78, translated from Sanskrit. We'll leave off there on chapter 7 on ethics from the perspective of the Mahayana tradition. We will pick up on the next one on perfections. And this is a reading from the Common Buddhist Text, Guidance and Insight from the Buddha. Chief editor of this compilation is Dr. Mahapradama Kosachan.